and he continued to speak. When Sri Krishna was only 3 months old and was just trying to turn backside up, before he even attempted to crawl, Mother Yasoda wanted to observe a ritualistic ceremony with her friends for the good fortune of the child. Such a ritualistic ceremony is generally performed with ladies who also have small children. When Mother Yasoda saw that Krishna was falling asleep because of other engagements, she put the child underneath a household cart called Sakata. And while the child was sleeping, she engaged herself in other business pertaining to the auspicious ritualistic ceremony. Underneath the cart was a cradle, and Mother Yasoda placed the child in that cradle. The child was sleeping, but suddenly he awakened and, as usual for a child, began to kick his small legs. This kicking shook the cart, which collapsed with a great sound, breaking completely, filling all its contents. Children who were playing nearby immediately informed Mother Yasoda that the cart had broken, and therefore she hastily arrived there in great anxiety with other gopis. Mother Yasoda immediately took the child on her lap and allowed him to suck her breast. Then various types of Vedic ritualistic ceremonies were performed with the help of the Brahmanas. Not knowing the real identity of the child, the Brahmanas showered the child with blessings. Another day, when Mother Yasoda was sitting with her child on her lap, she suddenly observed that he had assumed the weight of the entire universe. Wow. She was so astonished that she had to put the child down, and in the meantime, Trinavrata, one of the servants of Kamsa, appeared there as a whirlwind and took the child away. The whole tract of the land known as Gokula became surcharged with dust. No one could see where the child had been taken, and all the gopis were overwhelmed because he had been taken away in the dust storm. But up in the sky, the Asura, being overburdened by the child, could not carry the child far away, although he also could not drop the child because the child had caught him so tightly that it was difficult for him to separate the child from his body. Thus, Trinavarta himself fell down from a very great height, the child grasping him tightly by the shoulder, and immediately died. The demon having fallen, the gopis picked the child up and delivered him to the lap of Mother Yasoda. Thus, Mother Yasoda was struck with wonder. But because of Yogamaya's influence, No one could understand who Krishna was and what had actually happened. Rather, everyone began to praise the fortune for the child's having been saved from such a calamity. Nanda Maharaja, of course, was thinking of the whirlwind, thinking of the um, wonderful foretelling of Vasudeva and began to praise him as a great yogi. Later, when the child was on the lap of Mother Yasoda, the child yawned, and Mother Yasoda could see within his mouth the entire the entire universal manifestation. Okay, text 1 and 2. King Parikshit said, "My lord, Sukadeva Goswami, all the various activities exhibited by the incarnations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are certainly pleasing to the ear and to the mind. Simply by one's hearing of these activities, the dirty things in one's mind immediately vanish. Generally, we are reluctant to hear about the activities of the Lord, but Krishna's childhood activities are so attractive that they are automatically pleasing to the mind and ear. Thus, one's attachment for the hearing about material things, which is the root cause of material existence, vanishes, and one gradually develops devotional service to the Supreme Lord. Attachment for Him and friendship with devotees who give us the contribution of Krishna consciousness. If you think it fit, kindly speak about these activities of the Lord." Okay. Purport. As stated in the Prema Vivarta, Krishna Bahir Mukha Haya Bhoga Vanchakare Nikata Sta Maya Tare Chapatiya Tare. Our material existence is Maya, or illusion, in which we desire different varieties of material enjoyment and therefore change to different varieties of bodies. Brahmayan Sarvabhutani Yantra Rudrani Mayaya Asan Api Klesada Asa Deha. As long as we have these temporary bodies, they give us many varieties of tribulation. Adhyatmika, Adibhotika, and Adidaivika. This is the root cause of all suffering. But this root cause of suffering can be removed by the revival of our Krishna consciousness. All the Vedic literatures presented by Vasudeva and other great sages are therefore intended to revive our Krishna consciousness, which begins to revive with Shravana Kirtanam, Shinvatam Swaha, Gita Krishna, Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.17. Srimad Bhagavatam and other Vedic literatures exist simply to give us a chance to hear about Krishna. Krishna has different avatars or incarnations, all of which are wonderful and which arouse one's inquisitiveness. But generally, such avatars as Matsya, Kurma, and Varaha are not as attractive as Krishna. First of all, however, we have no attraction for hearing about Krishna, and this is the root cause of our suffering. But Parikshit Maharaj, specifically mentions that the wonderful activities of baby Krishna, which amazed Mother Yasoda and the other inhabitants of the Raja, are especially attractive. From the very beginning of his childhood, Krishna killed Putana, Trinavarta, and Sakatasura, and showed the entire universe within his mouth. Thus, the pastime, thus the pastimes of Krishna, one after another, kept Mother Yasoda and all the inhabitants of Braja in great astonishment. The process to revive one's Krishna consciousness is Ado Shraddha Tata Sadhu Sangha. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.4.15. The pastimes of Krishna can be properly received from devotees. If one has developed a little bit of Krishna consciousness by hearing from Vaishnavas about the activities of Krishna, uh, about the activities of Krishna, one becomes attached to Vaishnavas who are interested only in Krishna consciousness. Therefore, Parikshit Maharaj recommends that one hear about Krishna's childhood activities, which are more attractive than the activities of other incarnations such as Matsya, Kurma, and Varaha. Wanting to hear more and more from Sukadeva Goswami, Maharaj Parikshit requested him to continue describing Krishna's childhood activities, which are especially easy to hear and which create more and more inquisitiveness. Text number 3. Please describe other pastimes of Krishna, the Supreme Personality, who appeared on this planet Earth, imitating a human child and performing wonderful activities like killing Putana. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj Parikshit requested Sukadeva Goswami to narrate other childhood pastimes exhibited by Krishna while playing as a human child. The Supreme Personality of Godhead incarnates at different times in different planets and universes. And according to the nature of those places, he exhibits his unlimited potency. That a child sitting on the lap of his mother was able to kill the gigantic Putana is extremely wonderful for the inhabitants of this planet. But on the other planets, the inhabitants are more advanced, and therefore the pastimes of the Lord performed there, and therefore the pastimes the Lord performs there are still more wonderful. Krishna's appearance on this planet, like a human being, makes us more fortunate than the demigods in the higher planets. and therefore Maharaj Parikshit was very much interested in hearing about him, meaning Krishna. Text number 4. Sukadeva Goswami said, when Mother Soda's baby was slanting his body to attempt to rise and turn around, this attempt was observed by a Vedic ceremony. In such a ceremony called Uttana, which is performed when a child is due to leave the house for the first time, the child is properly bathed. Just after Krishna turned 3 months old, Mother Yasoda celebrated this ceremony with other women of the neighborhood. On that day, there was a conjunction of the moon with the constellation Rohini, and the Brahmanas joined by chanting Vedic hymns, and professional musicians also took part. This great ceremony was observed by Mother Yasoda. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. There is no question of overpopulation or of children's being a burden for their parents in a Vedic society. Such a society is so well organized and people are so advanced in spiritual consciousness that childbirth is never regarded as a burden or a botheration. The more a child grows, the more his parents become jubilant, and the child's attempts to turn over are also a source of jubilation. Even before the child is born, when the mother is pregnant, many recommended ritualistic ceremonies are performed. For example, when the child has been within the womb for 3 months and for 7 months, there is a ceremony the mother observes by eating with neighboring children. This ceremony is called Swada Bhakshana. Similarly, before the birth of the child, there is the Garbhodana ceremony. In Vedic civilization, childbirth or pregnancy is never regarded as a burden. Rather, it is a cause for jubilation. In contrast, people in modern civilization do not like pregnancy or childbirth, and when there is a child, they sometimes kill it. We can just consider how human society has fallen since the inauguration of Kali Yuga. Although people still claim to be civilized at the present moment, there is actually no human civilization, but only an assembly of two-legged animals. Text number 5. After completing the bathing ceremony for the child, Mother Yasoda received the Brahmanas by worshiping them with proper respect and giving them ample food grains and other eatables, clothing, desirable cows, and garlands. The Brahmanas properly chanted the Vedic hymns to observe the auspicious ceremony, and when they finished and Mother Yasoda saw that the child felt sleepy, she lay down on the bed with the child until he was peacefully asleep. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. An affectionate mother takes great care of her child and is always anxious to see that the child is not disturbed even for a moment. As long as the child wants to remain with the mother stays with the child, and the child feels very comfortable. Mother Yasoda saw that her child felt sleepy, and to give him all facilities for sleep, she lay down with the child, and when he was peaceful, she got up to attend to her other household affairs. Text number 6. The liberal Mother Yasoda absorbed in celebrating the Uttana ceremony, which was busy receiving guests, worshiping them with all respect, and offering them clothing, cows, garlands, and grains. Thus she could not hear the child crying for his mother. At that time, the child Krishna, demanding to drink the milk of his mother's breast, angrily threw his legs upward. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Krishna had been placed underneath a household hand cart, but this hand cart was actually another form of the Sakatasura, a demon who had come there to kill the child. Whoa. Now, on the plea of demanding to suck his mother's breast, Krishna took this opportunity to kill the demon. Thus, he kicked Sakatasura just to expose him. Although Krishna's mother was engaged in receiving guests, Lord Krishna wanted to draw her attention by killing the Sakatasura, and therefore he kicked that cart-shaped demon. Such are the pastimes of Krishna. Krishna wanted to draw the attention of his mother, but while doing so, he created a great havoc, not understandable by ordinary persons. These narrations are wonderfully enjoyable, and those who are fortunate are struck with wonder upon hearing of these extraordinary activities of the Lord. Although the less intelligent regard them as mythological because a dull brain cannot understand them, they are real facts. These narrations are actually so enjoyable and enlightening that Maharaj Parikshit and Sukadeva Goswami took pleasure in them, and other liberated souls, following in their footsteps, become fully jubilant by hearing about the wonderful activities of the Lord. Text number 7. Lord Sri Krishna was lying down underneath the handcart in one corner of the courtyard. And although his little legs were as soft as leaves, when he struck the cart with his legs, it turned over violently and collapsed. The wheels separated from the axle. The hubs and spokes fell apart, and the pole of the handcart broke. On the cart, there were many little utensils made of various metals, and all of them scattered hither and thither. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakur has commented on this verse as follows. When Lord Krishna was of a very tender age, his hands and legs resembled soft new leaves. Yet simply by touching the handcart with his legs, he made the cart fall to pieces. It was quite possible for him to act in this way and yet not exert himself very much. The Lord, in his Vamana Avatara, had extend the Lord in his Vamana Avatara had to extend his foot to the greatest height to penetrate the covering of the universe. And when the Lord killed the gigantic demon, Hiranyakashipu, he had to assume the special bodily features of Nrsimhadeva. But in his Krishna avatar, the Lord did not need to exert such energy. Therefore, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself. In other incarnations, the Lord had to exert some energy according to the time and circumstances. But in this form, He exhibited unlimited potency. Thus, the handcart collapsed, its joints broke, and all the metal pots and utensils scattered. The Vaishnava Toshani remarks that although the handcart was higher than the child could easily touch the wheel of the cart, and this was sufficient to send the demon down to the earth. The Lord simultaneously pushed the demon to the earth and superficially broke the handcart. Text 8. When Mother Yasoda and the other ladies who had assembled for the Uttana festival, and all the men, headed by Nanda Maharaja, saw the wonderful situation, they began to wonder how the handcart had collapsed by itself. They began to wander here and there, trying to find the cause, but were unable to do so. Text 9. The assembled cowherd men and ladies began to contemplate how this thing had happened. Quote, is it the work of some demon or evil planet? They asked. At that time, the small children present asserted that the cart had been kicked apart by the baby Krishna. As soon as the crying baby, uh, as soon as the crying baby dad kicked the cart's wheel, the cart had collapsed. There was no doubt about it. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. We have heard of peoples being haunted by ghosts, having no gross material body. A ghost seeks shelter of a gross body to stay in and haunt. The Sagatasura was a ghost who had taken shelter of the handcart and was looking for the opportunity to do mischief to Krishna. When Krishna kicked the cart with his small and very delicate legs, the ghost was immediately pushed down to the earth and his shelter dismantled, as already described. This was possible for Krishna because he has full potency, as confirmed in the Brahma Samhita 5.32. Angani yasya sakalendriya manti Pashyanti panti kalayanti chiram jaganti ananda chinmaya sad ujvala vigrahasya govindam adipurusham tamaham bhajami. Krishna's body is Sat Chit Ananda Vigraha or Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Vigraha. That is, any of the parts of his Ananda Chinmaya body can act for any other parts. Such are the inconceivable potencies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Lord does not need to acquire these potencies. He already has them. Thus, Krishna kicked his little legs and his whole purpose was fulfilled. Also, when the handcart broke, an ordinary child could have been injured in many ways, but because Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he enjoyed the dismantling of the cart, and nothing injured him. Everything done by him is Ananda Chinmaya Rasa, full of transcendental bliss. Thus, Krishna factually enjoyed. The nearby children saw that actually Krishna had kicked the wheel of the cart, and this was how the accident happened. By the arrangement of Yogamaya, all the gopis and gopas thought that the accident had taken place because of some bad planet or some ghost. But in fact, everything was done by Krishna and enjoyed by him. Those who enjoy the activities of Krishna are also on the platform of Ananda Chinmaya Rasa. They are liberated from the material platform. When one develops the practice of hearing Krishna Katha, he is certainly transcendental to material existence. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, Sagunan Samatityaitan Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. Unless one is on the spiritual platform, one cannot enjoy the transcendental activities of Krishna, or, in other words, whoever engages in hearing the transcendental activities of Krishna is not on the material platform, but on the transcendental spiritual platform. Text number 10. The assembled gopis and gopas, unaware that Krishna is always unlimited, could not believe that baby Krishna had such inconceivable power. They could not believe the statements of the children, and therefore they neglected these statements as being childish talk. Text 11. Thinking that some bad planet had attacked Krishna, Mother Yasoda picked up a crying child and allowed him to suck her breast. Then she called for the experienced brahmanas to chant Vedic hymns and perform an auspicious ritualistic ceremony. Text, okay. Purport. Whenever there is some danger or some inauspicious occurrence, it is the custom of Vedic civilization to have qualified brahmanas immediately chant Vedic hymns to counteract it. Mother Yasoda did this properly and allowed the baby to suck her breast. Text 12. After the strong cowherd, after the strong shout, cowherd men assembled the pots and paraphernalia on the hand cart and set it up as before. The Brahmanas performed ritualistic ceremony with a fire sacrifice to appease the bad planet, and then with rice grains, kusha, water, and curd, they worship the Supreme Lord. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The handcart was loaded with heavy utensils and other paraphernalia. To set the cart back on its original position required much strength, but this was easily done by the cowherd men. Then, according to the system of the Gopa Jati, various Vedic ceremonies were performed to appease the calamitous situation. Text 13 to 15. Um, let's see. When the brahmanas are free from envy, untruthfulness, unnecessary pride, grudges, disturbance by the opulence of others, and false prestige, their blessings never go in vain. Considering this, Nanda Maharaja soberly took Krishna on his lap and invited such truthful brahmanas to perform a ritualistic ceremony according to the holy hymns of the Samaveda, Rig Veda, and Yajur Veda. Then, while the hymns were being chanted, he bathed the child with water mixed with pure herbs, and after performing a fire ceremony, he sumptuously fed all the brahmanas with first class grains and other food. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Nanda Maharaja was very confident about the qualifications of the brahmanas and their blessings. He was fully confident that simply if the good brahmanas showered their blessings, the child Krishna would be happy. The blessings of qualified brahmanas can bring happiness not only to Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but to everyone, because Krishna is self sufficient. He does not require anyone's blessings. Yet, Nanda Maharaja thought that Krishna required the blessings of the brahmanas. What then is to be said of others? In human society, therefore, there must be an ideal class of men, brahmanas, who can bestow blessings upon others, namely upon kshatriyas, vaishyas, and sudras, so that everyone will be happy. Krishna, therefore, says in Bhagavad Gita 4.13 that human society must have four social orders. Chaturvarnyam maya sristam gunakarma vibhagasa. It is not that everyone should become a Sudra or a Vaishya and human society will prosper. As enunciated in the Bhagavad Gita, there must be a class of brahmanas with qualities like satya, truthfulness, sama, peacefulness, dhamma, self-control, and titiksha, tolerance. There must be these um, uh, these qualities of satya. One, which is truthfulness; sama, two, which is peacefulness; dhamma, three, self-control; and titiksha, four, tolerance. Right. Here also in the Bhagavatam, Nanda Maharaja invites qualified brahmanas. There may be caste brahmanas, and we have all respect for them. But their birth in brahmana families does not mean that they are qualified to bestow blessings upon the other members of human society. This is the verdict of the Shastras. In Kali Yuga, caste brahmanas are accepted as brahmanas. Vipra, Vipratir Sutram Evahi, Bhagavatam 12.2.3. In Kali Yuga, simply by the putting on a thread worth 2 paisa, one becomes a brahmana. Such brahmanas were not called for by Nanda Maharaj. As stated by Narada Muni, Bhagavatam 7.11.35. Yasya yal lakshanam proktam. The symptoms of a brahmana are stated in Shastra, and one must be qualified with these symptoms. The blessings of brahmanas who are not envious, disturbed or puffed up with pride and false prestige, and who are fully qualified with truthfulness, will be useful. Therefore, a class of men must be trained as brahmanas from the very beginning. Brahmacharya Guru Kule Basan Danto Guru Hitam. Bhagavatam 7.12.1. The word Danta is very important. Danta refers to one who is not envious, disturbing, or puffed up with false prestige. With the Krishna consciousness movement, we are trying to introduce such brahmanas in society. Brahmanas must ultimately be Vaishnavas. And if one is a Vaishnava, he has already acquired the qualification of a Brahmana. Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma, Bhagavad Gita 18.54. The word Brahma Bhuta refers to becoming a Brahmana, or understanding what is Brahman. Brahma Janatiti Brahmana. One who is Brahma Bhuta is always happy. Prasanatma, na sochati na kamshati. He is never disturbed about material necessities. Sama, sarvesu bhutesu. He is ready to bestow blessings upon everyone equally. Mad bhaktim labhate param. Then he becomes a Vaishnava. In this age, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakura introduced the sacred thread ceremony for his Vaishnava disciples with the idea that people should understand that when one becomes a Vaishnava, he has already acquired the qualifications of a Brahmana. Therefore, in the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, those who are twice initiated so as to become Brahmanas must bear in mind their great responsibility to be truthful, control the mind and senses, be tolerant, and so on. Then their life will be successful. It was such brahmanas that Nanda Maharaja invited to chant the Vedic hymns, not ordinary brahmanas. Verse 13 distinctly mentions himsa mana. The word mana refers to false prestige or false pride. Those who were falsely proud, thinking that they were brahmanas because they were born in Brahmana families, were never invited by Nanda Maharaja on such occasions. Verse 14 mentions Pavitro Sadi. In any ritualistic ceremony, many herbs and leaves were required. These were known as Pavitra Patra. Sometimes there were nimba leaves, and sometimes bale leaves, mango leaves, asvata leaves, or amalaki leaves. Similarly, there were pancha davya, pancha sasya, and pancha ratna. Although Nanda Maharaj belonged to the Vaishya community, everything was known to him. The most important word in these verses is Mahagunam, indicating that the Brahmanas were offered very palatable food of exalted quality. Such palatable dishes were generally prepared with two things, namely food grains and milk products. Bhagavad Gita 1844 therefore enjoins that human society must give protection to the cows and encourage agriculture. Krishi go raksha vanijyam vaishya karma swabhavajam. Simply by expert cooking, hundreds and thousands of palatable dishes can be prepared from agricultural produce and milk products. This is indicated here by the words anam mahagunam. Still today in India, from these two things, namely food grains and milk, hundreds and thousands of varieties of food are prepared, and then they are offered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Chaturvita Shri Bhagavat Prasada Patram Pushpam Phalam Tuyam Yome Bhaktya Prayachati. Then the prasada is distributed even today in Jagannatha Kshetra. The other big temples, very palatable dishes are offered to the deity and prasada is distributed profusely. Cooked by first-class brahmanas with expert knowledge and then distributed to the public. This prasada is also a blessing for the brahmanas or Vaishnavas. There are four kinds of prasada: chaturvida, salty, sweet, sour, and pungent tastes are made with different types of spices, and the food is prepared in four divisions called karvya, kushya, lehya, and aya. Prasada that is chewed, prasada that is licked, prasada tasted with the tongue, and prasada and prasada that is drunk. Thus, there are many varieties of prasada prepared very nicely with grains and ghee, offered to the deity and distributed to the Brahmanas and Vaishnavas, and then to the general public. This is the way of human society. Killing the cows and spoiling the land will not solve the problem of food. This is not civilization. Uncivilized men living in the jungle and being unqualified to produce food by agriculture and cow protection may eat animals, but a perfect human society advanced in knowledge must learn how to produce first class food simply by agriculture and protection of cows. There it is. No more killing cows. Text 16. Nanda Maharaja, for the sake of the affluence of his own son, Krishna, gave the Brahmanas cows fully decorated with garments, flower garlands, and gold necklaces. These cows, fully qualified to give ample milk, were given to the Brahmanas in charity. And the Brahmanas accepted them and bestowed blessings upon the whole family and especially upon Krishna. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Nanda Maharaja first fed the Brahmanas sumptuously and then gave them in charity first-class cows, fully decorated with golden necklaces, garments, and flower gardens. Are we almost finished?
Yeah, we are at time, Maharaj.
Yeah.
We have some.
Okay, we'll just do one more. Text 17. The Brahmanas, who were completely expert in chanting the Vedic hymns, were all yogis fully equipped with mystic powers. Whatever blessings they spoke were certainly never fruitless. Brahmanas fully equipped, purport, Brahmanas fully equipped with the Brahminical qualifications are always yogis fully powerful in mystic yoga. Their words never fail in every transaction with other members of society. Brahmanas are certainly dependable. In this age, however, one must take into account that the Brahmanas are uncertain in their qualifications because there is no yajic Brahmanas. All yajnas are forbidden. The only yajna recommended in this age is Sankirtana Yajna. Yajnai Sankirtana Parar Dijanti Hi Sumedasa. Bhagavatam 11.5.32. Yajna is meant to satisfy Vishnu. Yajnartat karmano natra lokoyam karma bandhana. Because in this age there are no qualified brahmanas. People should perform yajna by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. Yajnai Sankirtana Parar Yajanti Hi Sumedasaha. Life is meant for yajna, and yajna is performed by the chanting of Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So the next time you go to see a uh, uh, puja, if it is performed uh, without the hearing of the Hare Krishna mantra, it's not bona fide. So therefore, that's why it says, because in this age there's no qualified brahmanas, people should perform yajna by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. Yajna Sankirtana Parara Yajanti Hi Sumedasa. Life is meant for yajna. Life is meant for yajna. And yajna is performed by the chanting of Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So when you go to some ceremony and the brahmanas are chanting so many different mantras, actually it is not bona fide. Because in this age, as it says here, the only yajna recommended in this age is Sankirtana yajna. Yasnai Sankirtana Parar Yajanti Sumedasa. And Bhagavatam 11.5.32. Yajna is meant to satisfy Vishnu. Yajnartat karmanonyatra lokoyam karma bandhana. Because in this age there are no qualified brahmanas. There are no qualified brahmanas. People should perform yajna by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. Yajna Sankirtana Purar Yajanti Hi Sumedasa. Life is meant for yajna, and the yajna is performed by the chanting of Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Now, see, this is very difficult for people to understand. Actually, it's very simple. But somehow or other, even in Krishna consciousness, the practice of many mantras has come into the Krishna consciousness movement. But actually, that is not what is bona fide. We don't have to chant all these different mantras. That's why it says here. Because there are no yogic brahmanas, all the yajnas are forbidden. There it is, right there. The only yajna recommended in the sage is Sankirtana Yajna. Yajna is Sankirtana Parar Yajanti Hi Sumedasana. Bhagavatam 11.5.32. Yajna is meant to satisfy Vishnu. Yajna tar karmano nyatra lokuyam karma bandhana. Because in this age, there are no qualified brahmanas. People should perform yajna, chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, yajna sankirtana, parir yajanti hi sumedasa. Life is meant for yajna, and yajna is performed by chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we have to be very careful not to become what you would call brahmanas who are chanting all kinds of mantras. The only mantra that can be chanted properly is the Hare Krishna Maha mantra. So you don't have to chant all different mantras in Krishna consciousness. You simply have to chant the Hare Krishna Maha mantra. And why? Because in this age, there are no qualified brahmanas. People should perform yajna by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. There it is in plain words. Yajna sankirtana parar yajanti hi sumedasa. Life is meant for yajna, and yajna is performed by chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. You don't have to chant any other mantra. I think it's so hard for the devotees to understand these things. They want to, show themselves to be so-called, what you would call it, brahmanas. And then they start chanting all kinds of mantras. But actually, it says, because there is no yajnik brahmanas. All yajnas are forbidden. It is right there. Very clear.
It is a very big statement.
Yeah. The only yajna recommended in this age is Sankirtana yajna. Yajna Sankirtana Parar Yajanti Hi Sumedasa. Bhagavatam 11.5.32. Yajna is meant to satisfy Vishnu. Yajna tat karmano nyatra lokuyam karma bandhana. Because in this age there are no qualified brahmanas. People should perform yajna by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. Yajna sankirtana parar yajanti hi sumedasa. Life is meant for yajna, and yajna is performed by chanting the Hare Krishna, like chanting the Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Well, that's pretty clear, and but somehow or another, these even devotees in ISKCON have developed this idea that you have to chant all these mantras, and it's not necessary. It's not necessary. Uh, because there are no yogic brahmanas, all yajnas are forbidden. The only yajna recommended in this age is Sankirtana yajna. There it is, my dear devotees. But yet, somehow or other, uh, some devotees think that you have to chant all these other mantras when there's a program. It's not necessary. In a sense, it's not bona fide also. Okay, so because in this age there are no qualified brahmanas, people should perform yajna by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. Yajna Sankirtana Parar Janti Hi Sumedasa. Life is meant for yajna, and yajna is performed by chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. There's no need to perform all these other mantras. The only yajna recommended in this age is Sankirtana yajna. Yajna Sankirtana Pararya Jantihi Sumedasa. Okay. This makes everything easy and simple.
Simple.
But yet, we have brahmanas saying so many different mantras. Not necessary. Not necessary at all. Okay, all glories to Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Thank you very much, my dear devotees. Whenever you go to these yagyas and the so-called brahmanas are chanting so many mantras, you should chant the Hare Krishna mantra and don't get fooled that you have to learn all these other mantras. Because there are no yajnik brahmanas, all yagyas are forbidden. There it is, right there. All yagyas are forbidden. The only yajna recommended in this age is Sankirtana yajna. Yajna Sankirtana Parer Yajanti Hi Sumedasana. That is our takeaway for today. Because in this age there are no qualified brahmanas, people should perform yajna by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. Yajna Sankirtana Parer Yajanti Hi Sumedasana. Life is meant for yajna, and yajna is performed by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I don't know why it's somehow or other it's entered into ISKCON to chant all these mantras, all different mantras. It's very clear that we should only perform the Hare Krishna mantra for these ceremonies. Haribol. We'll stop right there and hope that what we said today, what we read today, our devotees understand what's being said so that they don't get into the trap of thinking they want to be mantra. They want to be mantra. They want to chant many different mantras when they perform the yajnas. It's not necessary. Thank you very much, my dear devotees. All glorious to Srila Prabhupada. And that's why, okay, our takeaway for today is because in this age, there are no qualified brahmanas. People should perform yajna by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. Yajnai sankirtanai parar yajanti hi sumedasa. Life is meant for yajna, and yajna is performed by chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare
Hare
Hare Rama,
Hare
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. There you go. That's all you have to do. All right.
One clarification.
Yeah.
So for specific ceremonies, when the fire sacrifice happens,
Yeah.
like let's say for marriage or any other
Yeah.
Specific ceremonies, so at that time, so brahmanas should just chant Hare Krishna and do the fire sacrifice.
Yeah. Yeah. Because in this age, there are no qualified brahmanas. People should perform yajna by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. Yajna is sankirtana. Life is meant for yajna, and yajna is performed by chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. There it is.
My question is, Maharaj, do we need fire sacrifice or we need to combine this like for those ceremonies?
Well, yeah, you do have to perform sacrifices, but you should only do the Hare Krishna mantra.
Okay.
What's wrong with that? It makes it very simple, right? You don't have to know so many different mantras. Anyway, people sit down to hear the puja that's going on. They don't understand one word of all those mantras. They don't understand not even one word of what's being chanted. So therefore, we should chant what's being recommended, the Hare Krishna mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. As far as instead of saying so many mantras, who, he, ha, woo, ah, who knows what they're saying. It's best just to chant the Hare Krishna mantra. That's enough to perform the yajna properly. You can continue to chant the Hare Krishna mantra over and over again, and that's the best way to do the mantra, do the yajna. You don't have to chant all these other mantras. People don't know what is being said anyway, so it's just a waste of time. They're just sitting there waiting for
Rituals.
Just sitting there waiting for all these mantras to end. It's boring, right? Nobody understands what they're saying. But we understand the Hare Krishna mantra, so that's what should be chanted only, not all these other mantras. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, my dear devotees. Don't be fooled by all these mantras that are being said. Whenever you go to a program, even a Hare Krishna program, and the and there are so many different mantras being said, we should only say Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, while they're saying all those other mantras. we should be chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. Okay, of course, Prabhupada. I don't even know how this started, the chanting all the mantras. And when I joined the movement, we didn't do that. We just were chanting Hare Krishna. That was it. We weren't chanting with different mantras.
Is it Hare Krishna, Maharaj?
Haribol Prabhu, go ahead.
So, some special occasion, is it okay to kind of not chant? Like, for example, like we have this Narshinga Homam, right?
Yeah.
Which is pretty famous in the ISKCON tradition also. Like, so is it just it's because it's another form of Krishna? Is that why it's acceptable to kind of do that?
Well, look, what we just read here, let's see what he said. The only yajna recommended in this age is Sankirtana Yajna. Yajna is Sankirtana Parer Yajanti Hi Sumedasa. Yajna is meant to satisfy Vishnu. Because in this age there are no qualified brahmanas. People should perform yajna by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. Life is meant for yajna, and yajna is performed by chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. There it is. He's not saying that you have to chant all these mantras. This is very simple and very clear. You can chant over and over again the Hare Krishna mantra. You don't need any of the other mantras.
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you.
Yeah. This is very clear, isn't it? I mean, somehow or other, people start uh, doing things that are not bona fide. And people think, it's necessary that he chants all these mantras. No, it's not. It says here, because in this age there are no qualified brahmanas, people should perform yajna by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. Yajna Sankirtana Parar Yajanti Hi Sumedasa. Life is meant for yajna, and yajna is performed by chanting the Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. There it is. I'm going to bring this point up because even our own devotees are chanting all these different mantras, and it's not necessary. You just chant the Hare Krishna mantra. You see how little by little things get, they sort of get into Krishna consciousness, and then because one person started doing that, other people think that you must do it also. But no, here it says, because there are no yajnik brahmanas, all yajnas are forbidden. The only yajna recommended in this age is Sankirtana yajna. Yajna Sankirtana. Parar yajanti hi sumidasa. Yajna is meant to satisfy Vishnu because in this age there are no qualified brahmanas. people should perform yajna by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. Life is meant for yajna, and yajna is performed by the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. There it is. It's very simple, direct. There's no equivocation here. Why can't we simply do things simply?
Hare Krishna.
Why do we want to count, you know, uh, imitate what the karmis do, or the, let's say, so-called, uh, so-called, uh, um, so-called devotees who claim that they have to say all these mantras. Not necessary. Just chant Hare Krishna mantra. You can chant it over and over, just like we chant our rounds, right? We don't chant different mantras when we're chanting our rounds. We only chant the Hare Krishna mantra, that's it. It's so simple. Why make it so complicated? I don't understand. And people don't understand what all the mantras are that are being said. They just sit there, and yeah. I'm going to say something about this from now on. I'm not going to sit there, for half an hour and hear some yahoo, wow. And it's not right. It's not right. Now I'm going to read this. I'm going to read this to people from now on. Life is meant for yajna, and yajna is performed by the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. There it is. The only yajna recommended in this age is Sankirtana Yajna. Yajna is meant to satisfy Vishnu. Because in this age there are no qualified brahmanas, people should perform yajna by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. Life is meant for yajna, and yajna is performed by chanting Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna,
Hare Hare, Hare
Ram Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Very clear, right? So we don't have to chant so many other mantras. Let the other people chant all those mantras. That's all, okay? But what I say, let the other people, those are not devotees. Those are, other different movements. But our movement is strictly Krishna conscious.
Very important.
Okay, we'll stop right there and pray that our so-called Mahants will only use the Hare Krishna mantra, not necessary for any others. Haribol. Did Prabhupada chant all those mantras? No. He was not chanting, this mantra, that mantra. He was just chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. That was it. When performing the ceremony, he was chanting Hare Krishna. Oh my God. So easy to deviate. When I joined the movement, nobody was chanting all these mantras. They were just chanting Hare Krishna. That was it. Yeah, I remember a long time ago, there was some ceremony going on, and all these Mahants came and they started chanting all these mantras. Uh, and then when they finished, then Prabhupada told us, chant Hare Krishna. And then the question was put to him. Prabhupada said, "What are these mantras bona fide?" Prabhupada, he said, "No, just chant Hare Krishna." For some reason or other, these other uh, uh, the other, let's say, uh, uh, other people came who were chanting all the different mantras. We just sat there and listened to them, you know. And then when they stopped, then Prabhupada said, chant Hare Krishna. So out of, courtesy to these other people that came to chant so many mantras, Prabhupada didn't say stop. No, he didn't do that. So we just sat there and listened to it. But then as soon as they stopped, Prabhupada said, chant Hare Krishna. So, no, but now, because somehow even our own devotees are chanting all these different mantras when it's not necessary. And they're chanting ha hoo wee ha ha hoo. We don't understand one word. I don't even think they understand all the words that they're saying. Right? So it's just a waste of time. Okay. Anyway, whenever there's a puja, and some of our own devotees are doing the hahu, wahu, wahu, we should chant Hare Krishna while they're chanting their different mantras. We should chant Hare Krishna. When I joined the movement, there was no such thing as chanting all these different mantras. We were just chanting Hare Krishna. Those were the good old days. Everything was very simple, and bona fide. Okay, Hare Krishna, glory to Srila Prabhupada. From now on, I'm not going to. Well, I don't. Even when I go to our programs and they're doing the ha hu wahoo wahoo, I'm chanting Hare Krishna.
Yes.
At least we know, when you chant the Hare Krishna mantra, at least you know what it's all about. All these other mantras, you don't know what they're saying. Therefore, we shouldn't do that. Okay, Hare Krishna, all glories to Prabhupada ki jai.
Earlier, Maharaj, we didn't know that what is a proper reason when you are chanting Hare Krishna while fire sacrifice is going on. But
Yeah.
with this all clarification, it's all bona fide.
We should only chant Hare Krishna. That's it. That's why we're called the Hare Krishna movement, right? That means we chant Hare Krishna all the time. You see how things become contaminated. Somebody starts something, and then other people start imitating them, thinking it's the right thing.
And later in the stage, Maharaj, when a lot of devotees are doing, it's difficult to challenge them. And people think like we should follow them, like even within Hare Krishna movement.
I'm going to say something from now on. I'm not going to sit there and listen to all this habu. Okay? All glories to Prabhupada. See, the problem is, people will think that we're not bona fide because we're not chanting all the mantras. That's the problem. I was there when one time there's a program. We were just sitting there and listening to all these mantras being said, and then when we finished, then Prabhupada said, chant Hare Krishna. And then I think I asked or somebody asked, I don't know, Prabhupada, what, is it bona fide to say all these mantras? And Prabhupada said, just chant Hare Krishna. Well, what he said was, if you don't chant, if these people that come and chant all these mantras, then other people think it's bona fide. And if you don't do it, they think it's not bona fide. That's it.